A fencer's shield is a vital tool that grants the class endurance like no other. They operate between two distinct types, being conventional shields, which specialize in damage mitigation, and reflectors, which focus on damage prevention. Conventional shields allow Fencer to withstand sustained enemy pressure for varying amounts of time. When an attack strikes the shield, most of its power is reduced before the remainder reaches Fencer, consuming shield durability in the process. Conventional shields don't eliminate harm altogether, but make otherwise dangerous amounts of punishment survivable. They can, however, defend against every form of incoming damage within their defense angle, unlike reflectors, which can't prevent harm from explosives or physical attacks such as bites. However, their effectiveness is heavily influenced by the direction an assault originates from. Every shield protects a defined area ahead of Fencer, determined by its defense angle. Hostiles kept within this protective arc remain manageable, with wider angles giving threats more room to spread before reaching an exposed opening. The danger increases once enemies reach his flanks. An invader entering this blind spot can bypass the shield entirely. At point-blank range, the shield's protection can't do its job, and the wielder will suffer significant damage. Shield size and available mobility both influence how easily these openings can be corrected. Pairing a shield with a dash or boost weapon gives Fencer the means to create distance and reorganize approaching enemies, drawing scattered threats back towards his protected front. Broader coverage is naturally more forgiving, whereas narrower arcs demand greater awareness and more frequent adjustments. Effective shield use is therefore as much about controlling enemy placement as it is about absorbing their attacks. These shields can be broadly separated into small, medium, and large categories, each favoring a different balance between handling and protection. Small shields provide the lightest form of defense. Their narrower protective arcs leave less room for positional error. Enemies attacking from several directions can reach the user easily, requiring frequent corrections or greater use of evasions to prevent spreading. They're therefore better suited to situations where the direction of an assault is predictable, or where Fencer can stay sharp enough to dictate how enemies approach. Against concentrated frontal fire, their limited coverage becomes less problematic. Fast-moving swarms and opponents capable of quickly encircling Fencer expose this weakness much more easily. Their lighter characteristics also make repositioning less restrictive, favoring sustained movement over attempting to hold the same ground indefinitely. Medium shields occupy the middle ground between mobility and coverage. Their broader frontal area gives greater tolerance against enemies spreading around Fencer without committing him to the heavier characteristics associated with the largest shields. This versatility is useful whenever the direction of an engagement is likely to change. Fencer can withstand frontal punishment, yet retain enough flexibility to relocate when needed. Instead of operating at either extreme, medium shields suit encounters where threats are numerous enough to demand good protection, but unpredictable enough that remaining stationary would be dangerous. Large shields push conventional protection to its max. Their greatest advantage extends beyond durability to how more of Fencer's surroundings can remain inside the defense angle at once. Hostiles have much further to travel before reaching an exposed side, giving these shields a natural advantage when Fencer needs to hold ground against dense and continuous enemies. Large groups, high HP opponents, and enemies firing from multiple positions ahead and to the side of Fencer all favor this expanded defensive arc. The trade-off is handling. Their weight restricts movement and aim speed more severely, giving greater security from the shield itself at the cost of increased difficulty relocating when an enemy assault intensifies. The difference between the three sizes can ultimately be understood through how each maintains control. A small shield relies more heavily on Fencer's movement to preserve its defensive orientation. A large shield instead uses expansive coverage to reduce how often those corrections are necessary. Medium shields bridge those two philosophies. None is universally superior. Their practical value changes according to mission type and how the distribution of the enemies can influence how effectively the player can deny them access to Fencer's weak spot. Regardless of size, every conventional shield fundamentally remains active according to the durability stat. Durability is only lost while the shield is raised and actually intercepting damage. That means its active lifespan isn't governed by a fixed time period, but by how much punishment a player forces it to endure. This distinction can produce dramatically different results depending on missions or what additional equipment is being used. Against manageable and intermittent fire, a shield can stay working over a prolonged period. Under concentrated enemy attacks, that same durability pool can disappear extremely quickly. Shield durability should therefore be treated as a finite defensive resource, and not simply a second health bar. As of EDF 5, all shields can be manually reloaded before their durability hits 0, meaning there's an important element of resource management. Downtime in combat can be utilized to restore a shield early, avoiding a forced reload at the worst possible moment. Conventional shields possess another defensive function beyond simply absorbing damage: parrying. The physical reverse range stat represents the area affected by this ability. Activating a parry briefly projects a force field ahead of the wielder that can repel most attacks when correctly timed. Projectiles such as a Queen Ant's acid spray can be caught by this field and physically thrown backwards, turning their own attacks against themselves. Shield size influences this mechanic as well. Larger shields generate a greater reversal field, giving the parry a better effective area, while smaller models produce a correspondingly more limited field. Unlike ordinary blocking, this technique doesn't depend on simply enduring the attack. Correct timing can let the user avoid damage altogether. This technology is the foundation behind the other type of shield. Reflectors can essentially be understood as the permanent application of Fencer's physical reversal tech. Instead of briefly generating a reversal field through a parry, raising a reflector activates that magnetic field unceasingly, flipping the conventional defensive exchange. Reflector shields possess very high efficiency against most projectile-based attacks, though this places greater emphasis on directional control. Anything that reaches the unprotected rear stays as a direct threat, still leaving Fencer vulnerable when enemies successfully approach too close. For this reason, reflectors depend perhaps even more heavily on maintaining a favorable defense angle than their conventional counterparts. Their strength comes from intercepting threats before they inflict harm, so losing control over the direction of an engagement undermines their greatest advantage. These shields are classified as small ones, meaning they impose no movement speed penalty whether raised or lowered. Because of their unique behavior, their durability functions under a completely different principle. A conventional shield loses durability according to the punishment it physically absorbs, making uptime situational. A reflector instead consumes its durability while the magnetic reversal field is active, regulated by its reversal durability drop stat. A reflector's active duration is more predictable. Keeping the field engaged steadily consumes its available durability, regardless of how much enemy fire is actually being reversed. Higher-level variants reduce this cost, extending how long the reflector can remain continuously active. Lowering the shield stops that consumption, allowing its remaining durability to be preserved until the reversal field is needed again. But just like conventional shields, reflectors can be manually reloaded. So the two shield types measure their active lifespan differently, as well as creating two distinct forms of resource management. A conventional shield asks, how much punishment can it take? A reflector asks, how long can its reversal field remain active? These differences become especially important once Fencer's three categories of shield support equipment are introduced. These items add another layer of specialization, altering how conventional shields handle the punishment they receive. Crucially, these effects stack with the shield's existing properties by enhancing native abilities, so the shield itself remains an important part of the equation because the same support equipment can produce different practical results depending on the characteristics of the shield it is paired with. Shield protection armor increases shield durability and expands its defense angle. Additional uptime increases the total punishment a conventional shield can withstand before requiring a reload. The wider defensive arc makes positioning more forgiving, causing enemies to travel further around Fencer before they can bypass the shield and attack. This combination is useful across every shield size. Smaller shields can compensate for some of their naturally limited coverage, while larger models can push an already expansive defensive area more so. This item type is unique in the fact that it meaningfully complements reflectors. They too still rely heavily, after all, on their defense angle and available durability. Expanding their reversal area makes it easier to intercept attacks approaching from different directions, while the larger durability reserve helps their shield type's lower base stat become revamped and increase how long the magnetic field can remain active. Deflect cells improve the shield's damage reduction and knockback resistance. Greater damage reduction decreases the portion that passes through the shield and reaches Fencer himself. Increased knockback resistance limits the displacement caused by enemy attacks, helping him retain his position and defensive orientation under sustained fire. Deflect cells, consequently by design, favor conventional shields expected to endure protracted engagements. The wielder can absorb heavier punishment with less personal damage and disruption, strengthening the shield's existing role as a tool for mitigation. Reflectors gain little practical value from either improvement. Successful physical reversal prevents attacks from reaching the traditional blocking stage, leaving enhanced damage reduction and knockback resistance largely redundant. Barricade systems are the third, and they provide identical bonuses as deflect cells, but by elevating damage reduction and knockback resistance harder at the cost of extreme shield consumption cost per hit. The end result is a very potent mitigation and resistance to displacement, enabling the class to stay planted behind the shield against levels of frontal punishment that would otherwise be much harder to withstand. Endgame equipment stats become applicable enough to making the user wholly immune to damage intercepted by the shield. Combined with additional exemption to knockback, this lets the wielder temporarily stay planted against frontal assaults that would otherwise inflict heavy damage. But these dense barrages and rapid multi-hit attacks can therefore shorten its practicality, despite the class taking no damage. Barricade systems are by design highly situational. They exchange endurance for short bursts of near-absolute frontal protection, favoring encounters where surviving lethal damage takes priority over maintaining the shield for long. At heart, Fencer's shield arsenal is less about choosing the strongest option and more about understanding what each configuration is built to accomplish. Between different shield types and specialized support equipment, the system furnishes enough flexibility to tailor Fencer's defense around the demands of any encounter. Mastering those choices turns the shield from a simple block of metal into one of the most adaptable parts of the arsenal.